Those effing C words. Change and confidence, child. 2 words that are so scary they may as well be curse words. Let's talk about it. On this podcast, we'll share our stories about hardship and starting over, making professional pivots, ending relationships and friendships, and having the confidence to navigate change. I'm Marcia Cork, the Change Coach, and this is Those Effing C Words. Hello, MCs. Happy Friday. I'm Marcia Cork. Welcome to another episode of Those Effing C Words. So there is one name you need to know to get social in the DMV. That's Jennifer Ward, known on Facebook as Jennifer Leah, founder of the DMV Does social group on Facebook. DMV Does is a 20,000 plus member social group founded to connect individuals and families across the DC, Maryland, and Northern Virginia cities that make up the DC and Baltimore metro areas, the DMV. And that makes Jennifer the face of the brand. I reached out to Jennifer after seeing her post very openly about her weight loss journey. She told me about a medically supervised regimen she's doing and her provider, Dana Rader. So Dana Rader is the owner of the Boutique Wellness and Medical Spa in Crofton, Maryland, just minutes from my house. So I'll be paying a visit there very soon. Dana is doctorally prepared, board certified family nurse practitioner with over 20 years experience as a healthcare provider. So today we're talking about change after weight loss or weight gain. I want to talk about the mental and emotional weight we carry alongside physical change, how that can shake our confidence, and more importantly, how to get that confidence back. Okay. So this is another conversation where thankfully we get to see both sides of the coin, as I like to say, because we're going to talk entrepreneurship, but we're also going to have some very relatable conversations about change in a way that we don't really talk about, you know, related to weight gain, related to weight loss, to that being change and grief and a loss of identity. So it really is a bigger deal than any of us. It really is a bigger deal than any of us really ever want to admit. So we're going to have that conversation today. All right. Thank you, ladies, for joining me. I'm so excited we finally get to have this conversation. It's been some weeks in the making. So thank you for being here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having me.
So what we're going to do is, I think we're going to jump right into your story, Jennifer. We'll start with, just talking about weight loss, weight gain over the years. I don't know if you've done any yo-yoing. I know I have, and I'm not going to throw you out there alone. I'm going to share my story, alongside yours. So tell me about it. Does it start from childhood? Did it start in adulthood? Where does this weight loss journey begin for you?
So let me just start by saying I used to be very active in the gym. I was very mindful of what I ate. Prior to moving to this area, I moved here 11 years ago. Okay. So weight loss wasn't necessarily something I had to think about because I was always, motivated. I was always out. And I was around a lot more people who saw health and wellness as a priority.
Okay.
So I moved here, and what I will say is that adjusting to a new city and trying to add a new job, being social, all of that stuff. I would say that for me was why I gained weight. Then I've been in relationships and different experiences. So for me, I was always confident. It was just losing motivation to really.
Lifestyle change.
Lifestyle change and transitions in life and things like that. I do come from a family who has diabetes. My mom has diabetes. My grandmother, who recently passed, had diabetes. So for me, it was always in my brain to make sure you work out, make sure you eat well.
Yeah.
And then I would say 5 years ago when I started DMV Does, where I became a little bit more social. I was always out. I was always out eating and drinking and working late. Really, the motivation to go to the gym that basically went away, and the motivation to start this group, be out socially all the time, making connections. I think the priority from staying in shape really changed. Like and I tell Dana this all the time. Like being motivated to work out is so hard for me because you might spend so much time socially, you know what I mean? Like you might spend so much time socially out drinking, or someone's always inviting me to a brunch or happy hour or something social that has food.
That's big around here. Always going out to dinner.
Brunching in the DMV.
Yep. And the buffet. So I would say, just to kind of wrap that up, but I would say brunch was like king. Brunch is king here, but it also, if you go on a buffet every weekend, every Saturday, not Saturday and Sunday, then you go on a happy hour. And with age, right? With age and hormones and everything like that. Yeah. Really, I think for me, the last 5 years have been the most difficult, and I've definitely gained weight. From what I've noticed, has been the challenge for me.
Okay. And that makes sense. You know, that especially since coming off of the pandemic, I would say that's where I put all of my weight back on. I've kind of gone up and down over the years as well. And I tend to put the blame on the husband and the kids, because there's more in the house that I would ever purchase for myself. If it was just me, I wouldn't have most of the things in the house that we have. But their snacks and his palate and the stuff that he comes in the house with, I'm easily tempted. So I've struggled with it more over the past few years, but the pandemic really just, I gained about 35 pounds after the pandemic. Not during the pandemic. I was actually losing weight from previous weight gain during the pandemic.
Okay.
And then afterward, the move, the readjusting once we got here, that's when it all kind of piled on. So I know lifestyle change can definitely do it. And that was probably what we were doing the most, was ordering food. It was more convenient to get it, ordering food, curbside delivery. And that was the only thing that we could really enjoy, right? Because we're not doing any of the things that we used to do socially. So food was it. So yeah, I feel you on that. But so more in adulthood. I would say that's the case for me as well. Have you ever had, though, any negative thoughts or negative body image over the years, teenage years?
Yeah, so I would say I went to all white school growing up, right? And I was skinny. So for me, the challenge was growing up in the hood, right? Growing up in the hood in the inner city, then going to all white school. So I looked more like the girls I went to school with rather than the people in my neighborhood. So it's funny because I was like, I always wanted to be thick, because I wasn't thick. So I remember when I was in my, teenage and in my 20s, I was like, I want to be thick, because all the boys were looking at the girls who were thick, because I didn't have that, right? I didn't have a butt. I didn't have anything. Eyes. So I think for me, I wanted to be more curvier, because I looked more European. I had more of a European shape, I feel like. Okay. So yeah, I mean, what I will say, moving to the DMV was very helpful for me to see the different shapes and sizes with women of color and things like that. And being skinny was cool, but you could also, enjoy eating and have a little body, and that's more of a cultural thing. But so I will say, growing up, it was a little different. Like I had more of I wanted to be curvier, and you know what I mean? Because that wasn't my body type as a teenager.
And if you don't mind, I want to have you jump on in too, Dana. Body confidence, body image. When did you become body conscious? What was that like for you growing up?
So I actually had the opposite effect. I had struggled with my weight starting in middle school. Okay. It was a combination of hormones, going through puberty, being more sedentary. I was pretty much a tomboy. Then I got into video games. I was a video game nerd. Okay. So sitting in a house playing video games, our parents at that time, food was a reward. So going out to the buffet every weekend, have enough money for us to get seconds. So it was eating more, doing less, and I gained weight. And so it came with the attention that I didn't want. So I had the opposite effect. I started developing curves that I did not like, started developing attention from boys and unfortunately men, which really made me very self-conscious about my body. And eventually I got to the point where I had not aged out of, but I guess weighed out of junior sizes. Okay. I remember distinctly, and I couldn't fit the biggest size in juniors. And my mom was like, well, you're going to have to come over and shop over with me, baby. And I was like, so if you know anything about the 90s and you know the women's section, there was nothing stylish for curvy women.
Yeah.
It was all mom jeans, denim vests, culottes. Yeah. There was nothing stylish in there.
Definitely very different today.
Exactly. Nothing that, a 13, 14-year-old wanted to wear to school.
Right.
So, I settled for sweatpants, sweatshirt. And I started my own, like, let me not eat seconds, let me start doing jumping jacks in my room. We didn't have, social media back then. So, I had to think about what I saw adults doing to lose weight, walking outside. And so.
And how old were you?
I was 13.
13. Okay.
13. And so, and so from then on, I was very conscious about my body. I lost a lot of weight. I actually lost a little too much weight. Saw myself in the picture and I was like, oh, wait, I think I got too skinny, so these are thoughts going through my head and 14, 15 years old. So it's a catch, and it's sad that I had to think about that young. But the slimmer I was, the less attention I got from my body. Yeah. Also, I was able to wear cuter clothes and I felt better about myself. So I was very conscious about my body from an early age. Whereas, other people around me, they were very slim, like naturally slim. And so I've seen over the years, like a shift that they were gaining weight. And then I was like maintaining because I would be sometimes a little obsessive about if I gained 10, 15 pounds and then like, oh no, I need to stop it. But I've been conscious of it at such a young age. Yeah. So, and then when I had my first daughter, I also gained like 70 pounds because, I just thought, you literally eat for two, but you don't. So, and that helped me again to be like, okay, I don't know what happened here, but let me get on it. So, so I've always had that from early on. I've always had that kind of consciousness about my body and my weight, just because of the changes that happened to me so young.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that puberty will do it. That's for sure. That's when I know I started putting on weight. I wasn't overweight and I was still relatively active. I've never been an athlete, but I was active. I just remember that at 13, I used to wear glasses and my mother hinted that I was putting on weight. And she said, you know what? You've been wanting to wear contacts for a while. How about if you lose X amount of weight, you get these contacts? Yeah. When I think back, that is exactly how that unfolded. And I was like, okay, let's do it. So that right around that age, 13 is, when we started to put on that puberty related weight. I think my daughter gained about 20 pounds but she was already very thin. So, she was still at a healthy weight once she gained it. But yeah, puberty will do it. That's for sure. So, okay. So I wanted to jump back to our childhoods for a bit, but I want to come back. So Jennifer, this weight gain is all kind of starting around the time that you're starting DMV does, right?
Yeah. So I was because in my, I was really in shape up until my mid 30s. I'm 40 now. And, at 35, that's when I feel like when the weight gain happened. So I would, there are people who are their metabolism is really fast. They think they can eat everything. And then, when you get it to a certain place in your life or a certain age, you're like, I can't, then you realize the weight.
28 for me.
Yeah. So for me, I was a late bloomer. So I really didn't start gaining weight until mid 30s. So, so then with that, I was always used to being skinny, always used to being lean. Mm-hmm. I taught Zumba for a while, so I really was like very I wouldn't eat certain foods. I was a vegetarian. And then you get social, then you're around people and you life transitions and you're doing things, eating bread, things I would never have eaten, chicken, and you do some of those things, and that's what happened. Like, and I used to go to the gym 2 times a day sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
But then I kind of
never been that girl.
Yeah. Then I switched it and instead of me going to the gym, it was me, starting happy hour or doing brunch. Mm-hmm. So that's why I was telling Dana this. That's why I like to keep it when I do events now. I'm trying to do more social, but wellness stuff too. Like I like working out with people. So for me, my weight stuff had a lot to do with my adulthood. And for me, the negative experiences growing up was more, I was not curvy enough. I was not, so that was like my negative perception. Like I was not, I wasn't what the men wanted in my neighborhood because I was too skinny, or I looked like I had a white girl body. I've had comments, people say, you're a Black woman in a white girl's body or something like that. So I was more that stuff that I dealt with.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was yearning to be that, like, you know what I mean? Like the jet model, the swimsuit of the week. I wanted to be that girl. So that was my stuff.
And that's why I titled this Change After Weight Loss or Weight Gain, because just, for some of us, we're wanting to lose weight, but for many of us, we're wanting to gain weight. I know that was a conversation I would have with my cousin growing up. She always she liked that I was curvy. I liked that she was slim, but curvy, she was thin. And she knew she wanted to, she started doing the milkshakes to put on weight. And I would tell her, you're going to regret that eventually. One day it's going to
catch up with you.
Yeah. And it did. So I want to talk about both of those things, weight loss and weight gain.
Yeah.
And so how did that impact you being the face of the brand? Because you are the face of the DMV Does brand.
Yeah. So let me back up a little bit. So one thing about COVID, for me and for many of us in the group, people weren't able to go out to eat. We weren't able to do some of those things. Yeah. So at the beginning of COVID, we were doing a lot of walks. We were doing a lot of hiking.
Okay.
After work. So many of us were trying to lose weight and be social, but then, if that's not your thing and you really want to go back to being in the bars or the clubs or whatever, it's hard to do.
Yes.
At the same time, I feel like the conversation about weight loss is just so difficult because some people, with me, it was like, I want to lose weight, but I want to be social. But when I started DMV Does, I didn't really think of it like a brand. I just thought of it as a group to get together, to connect. So I wasn't really thinking about what I looked like. That wasn't really my thing. Like first of all, it was a DMV Does. It started off as DMV Does brunch, and it was just women getting together to do brunch, having a good time. So we changed our name 6 months after we started. Now
let me let you talk about that a little bit more, so that people know what we're talking about. Talk about the history of DMV Does. So start back. Give me some years. Give us a timeline.
Okay.
Or when the brunch started to present date.
So December 2018, a girlfriend and I used to always go to brunch.
Okay.
We used to always go to brunch every Sunday. I used to go to church at Alfred Street Baptist Church in Virginia. Yeah. After church, we would meet in DC for brunch. And we said, you know what? And then we started inviting people. And then it just turned into like 20 people. We were like, you know what? This would be a good time. And my parents are from Alabama, right? So for me, Sundays were like eating together, fellowshipping together, having a good time. Although we're from Boston, I still had that. I need to get together with people and fellowship.
Okay.
So it turned into every Sunday, we were always finding a new spot to hang out. So we said, you know what, why don't we start a group? Why don't we start a group to just talk about dating at the time? Many of us were single. Let's talk about adjusting to the area. Let's talk about our social life. Let's talk about work. Because many of us were transplants to the area. We needed a place, a safe place, because our coworkers weren't really hanging out with us. So we really need a space to just connect. And it was mostly women. So 6 months. So we said December 2018, we had our first brunch at Farmers and Distillers in Georgetown. No, Farmers, Fishers, Bakers in Georgetown, March 2018. So we consider that our anniversary. March of every year. That's our anniversary, March 20th.
Okay.
So it was just a group to connect, to, get together, talk. And then the group kept growing and it stopped being just brunch.
Friends bringing friends.
Yeah. Okay. And 6 months into that, it stopped being brunch. We started doing Taco Tuesday. We started doing like just happy hour. So it just turned into this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, people kept joining the group. And then I started adding admins to the group on the team.
Okay. And then so it is officially a Facebook group at this point?
Yeah, it's officially a Facebook group. Yeah. So it just turned into this huge thing that like this. I just wanted a place because I knew how hard it was for me to transition to the area for people to just get together. And I feel like now we're one of the most sought out groups on Facebook, especially in the DMV.
Yeah.
To connect people are doing business with the group. They're promoting their products, their services. People are hosting events, meetups. So people, I'm new to the area and I have a question. Like I feel like God put this vision in my heart, and it's like to see it happening every day, people connecting.
Yeah.
And, we're helping people sell out events, and like it's just like this thing.
You're connecting people
and there's
questions, with health questions. I mean, it's just so like it's helpful not just socially, but like overall health. People reach out for support, mental health. Yeah. I mean, to me, it's a movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw someone ask about their car getting repossessed and just asking for guidance to get to recover their car. Just all kinds of things. It's
legal advice.
It's amazing. Crazy. And so when did it grow? When did it grow? Because you said this is 2018. So we're talking, a couple of dozen women.
I would say pandemic, we really doubled in size. I was looking at some numbers. We were at like 9,000 people June 2021. We were at 9,000 people. Now we're at 21,000 people, over a year.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I would say that the pandemic, because people were looking for, a space. They couldn't go out. People were isolated.
Yeah.
People were dealing with depression. People were, they wanted the social support. So people joined DMV Does, because at the time we started doing Zooms, like virtual happy hours.
So
I feel like people were like, I'm new to the area. Moved here. Now it's the pandemic. Where do I go to connect with people? Where do I go to date? Where do I go to, find a job? So I really think during the pandemic, we really saw an increase in our membership. People just wanted to connect with people. They were, they couldn't be outside. We couldn't do happy hour.
Yeah.
So it was a place just to discuss what's going on, talk about your weekend, talk about business. It really turned into like this massive place for empowerment and connection. And that's where we are today.
Okay. Well, that makes more sense, because now that makes sense for you to say you didn't intend to be the face of the brand. It wasn't a brand at the time. It was really just a few friends getting together for brunch and then inviting friends and that growing.
Right.
So and then I guess I wanted to say, because I thought that maybe this was started, 2011, 2014, something like that. I didn't know it was still relatively new.
Yeah.
So this was not quite the way social media is now, where you have to be seen and heard. You're doing reels and all these types of just really having to be seen. So that wasn't the case then. It was more just posts, just pictures and conversations and flyers of probably some of your meetups and things like that.
Word of mouth. Yeah. Yep, definitely. Or, if people connected with someone or connected with me, I feel like, once somebody met me or met other people on my team, they were sold. They were like, okay, I love it. I want to be down. Yeah. And some people I was already in other social groups. So some people and I kind of, they knew about the group, and some people just followed me over to my own group. Like a lot of us were in like bigger social groups that were kind of like ratchet or like, it was fun, entertainment. We kind of moved it over to doing stuff, like actually doing, fun connection, networking things. So there are people who were with me from day one.
Mm-hmm.
Came from other places.
So now that brings us to present day then. And now you are officially the face of the brand.
Lord, it's funny because it's something that I struggle with, because I don't see myself as the face of the brand. I just see myself as the visionary. I wanted this thing, and now it's big.
Mm-hmm.
I will say it has come with positive feedback, but it also has come with negative feedback, because when I started to gain weight, people noticed that. Like people like, oh, she's not as whatever or if I'm not polished, or my hair's not done, or if, if somebody sees me in that light, it could be taken the wrong way, or people could drag me, and which has happened.
This is precisely what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like the body shaming and all that stuff. So it really, I think, and when I talk with other people who have massive platforms, or it just comes with the territory, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Like, some people are mean. Like, some people are mean, or now that the group has grown so big, I have to make hard decisions. I have to remove people from the group. I have to manage the group. I have to moderate things. So that can make people angry too, right? So, it's come with, she thinks she's all that, she thinks she's not that cute, or whatever it is. But I think, at first when you experience it, it's very like, wow, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened to me. But like, after a while, you're like, it just comes with the territory. These people don't know you. They haven't connected with you in that way. And, there are going to be people who are going to be upset or angry, or they're people in the group for the wrong reason, or, their angle isn't my angle, and that's okay. So you really, when you have a platform this big, you really have to have tough skin.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And you really, and at the same time, you got to be on your P's and Q's. Like, you got to be like tight. And that's why working with Dana for me was like, I don't have the motivation necessarily to work out, but I believe in, anything that's medically supervised. I really believe health. If that's going to help me get to where I need to go, then we can add on the other stuff. We can add on the fitness. We can add on the gym stuff as we go. But that's why it's very important. And I turned 40 in July. I really had to, I'm 40 now. I'm planning a wedding. I really got to get this tight. Like, I really got to be, my ear got to be tight. My body got to be tight. Because not only are there people watching me, but there are people who are using, basically motivated by my story, or motivated by the group.
Absolutely.
You're an example.
Yeah. That's how we connected.
Yeah.
That's how we connected. I was new to the group, literally probably not even 2 weeks. And I saw that post. So
really?
yeah. And I'm going through the same thing. So, everybody's telling me that's the place to go to get social. But one of the first posts I see are of you talking about was injections.
Yeah.
Is that what okay. And I was like, wow, no, you didn't say injections yet. You just talked about the weight loss.
Yes.
And that's what made me ask you, because you said medically supervised. So I thought it was Ideal Protein. Do you remember that? I reached out and asked.
I've heard of Ideal Protein.
Yeah, because that's what I did. And I was successful with Ideal. Now it really required some discipline, but it worked. And the weight came off the way that they said it would. So when you mentioned your success, that's the first thing I thought of. And my clinic closed. So I thought, okay, she knows where to go. let me ask her. So I reached out to you about that. So now that brings us full circle now. So tell me about your relationship with Dana. How did you two connect? I'm assuming through the group, but tell me how.
So her fiance and I have known each other for years, and we and I did not meet until I think we were socially connected on Facebook, but we hadn't met. And I believe he came to a couple events, and then that's when we really connected. He was always very supportive of DMV Does.
Okay.
And then he brought Dana to an event. And that's what. And when he would post her, I was like, oh, she's beautiful. I would like, encourage him. So we connected in DMV Does at an event, and then again, these social groups, you connect. You make friends, make new connections
at events. You would see each other at events.
Every time I saw her, her legs are to die for, and I was like, look at her.
I already have leg envy, because that's we talk about the things that we don't like about ourselves. It's my legs, so I always have leg envy.
So then her fiance came. He does a landscaping business, and so he came out and he did a couple members in the groups. Their landscaping, and then he came and to the house here, and I was like, anything I could do to support you or from her, and we've been connected ever since.
Awesome. All right, well, that's a great segue. So Dana, tell us about Integr8 Wellness. That's the name?
So Integr8 Med Spa and Wellness Center. So it's pretty much, so just background on me. So I've been an advanced practice nurse for 20 years, and I'm specialized in family, but my area of specialty is women's health. That's my passion. That's what I love.
Okay.
So over the years, I mean, I kind of knew that I wanted to do my own practice because I just wanted to be able to care for patients in my way. I wanted to have more control of my schedule, more control of what I offered, what I did for my patients. Because I'm a personable person, and I connect with my patients, and I have patients that have followed me for years, for over the last decade, to multiple places. Okay. Just because I really enjoy like helping people. I really enjoy helping people get better, be healthy, be happy. And so during the pandemic, the pandemic burnt me out. And so something I love to do, I was just dreading going to it because unlike everyone else, there was no teleworking for us. There was no, working from home or virtual. We went in, I was in a clinic, I was in urgent care. You couldn't not see patients. I had pregnant patients, they had to be seen. And at the same time, I saw the worst side of medicine because, people were out, people were sick. They didn't care. They just needed you there to see patients. So you're going through patients. You see the worst side of humans because people come in knowing they're sick, exposing other people, but, they want their child's physical, or they need their medication renewed, or they're upset they waited 3 hours, or they can't bring their loved one back, even though we're limiting patients. So it was just so much that I was like, I just felt in my spirit, like, I feel like, God, you're pushing me to do something. What is it? And I knew I wanted to do something I love. And so I love aesthetics. I've always loved aesthetics. I love beauty. I love regenerative aesthetics. I love like keeping ourselves as young and as healthy as possible. Okay. I've been using like eye cream since like 25 because I thought about wrinkles in my 20s. I thought about, maintaining my weight. I wanted to make sure that, when I look good, I want to look like, Angela Bassett. I want to look like, Tina Turner. I want to look like somebody that they're like, oh, wow, I don't believe you're 70. And I wanted to feel good. I didn't want to have that phase and then, just not be able to live life and be active. So I started it more like a concierge, like just people either coming to my home, we go into their homes. I'm doing things here and there, but I knew that weight loss, I needed to incorporate that because one, that's my passion. I know the struggle and I know my patients struggle. I have patients come to me, they're coming in women's health. A lot of times women are only seeing you for their care. They're not going for physicals. They're not going to get their eyes checked. They're going to get their pap smear. And oh, by the way, your blood pressure, when's the last time you checked your cholesterol? Oh, you've gained 20 pounds. Yeah. So I had 15 minutes to address all of these concerns. And the main concern I've seen over the years is everybody's gaining weight, people with PCOS, pregnancy, birth control, and of course, perimenopause and menopause. Weight gain is a huge issue in the United States and disproportionately in communities of color, African American and Latino communities. Okay. So it's something that I try to incorporate. I know my patients don't like that, but I try to incorporate because I don't want to shame them, but I want them to pay attention because I want them to be healthy. And I know that 5 pounds turns to 10 pounds, turns to 20 pounds.
Absolutely.
I've seen them.
Did you notice a lot more post-pandemic?
Oh my gosh, the pandemic did a number on all of us. Yeah. A combination of stress, not being able to go out, not being able, for me, I wasn't able to go to the gym as usual. And then when it was cold, I like to run, but I don't like to run in the cold or the rain. So, that had an effect. Food was our comfort for everybody, and I probably drank more wine than I've ever drunk in, those 2 years of the pandemic, because what else were you doing?
Right.
So I knew that even for me, someone that was active, a combination of my lifestyle and age, at one point when I started to get back, I noticed like the weight was not coming off like it used to. It used to come off in like a month or two. And now I'm like struggling for a month and I haven't seen that scale change. And I know my patients go through the struggle. So that's what I wanted to incorporate. And I know that if you study obesity medicine, it's a lot more to weight gain than just diet and exercise. It's a lot more than weight loss and diet and exercise. You know, there are multiple factors that cause us to gain weight and to keep weight on. You know, a lot of people don't realize that their body adapts to that new weight. And so you try to lose weight, your body's trying to keep you at your higher weight. So you're doing double the work just to get back to the higher weight. So it's a struggle, which again causes a lot of issues, you know, mentally. Their motivation is sapped and people give up. And so I figured I wanted to incorporate not just aesthetics. It's not just about Botox and, you know, fillers and stuff, because I want people to actually feel good and look good. So I incorporated weight loss. I incorporated like wellness shots and IV hydration, hormonal replacement, because I'm big on holistic aesthetics. I'm big on regenerative aesthetics. I'm big on helping us like help our bodies to actually heal itself, to actually repair damage and prevent a lot of the health damages that we have over the years. And then I wanted to change the narrative for our community, because we don't talk a lot, you know, about weight gain. We don't talk a lot about obesity. We value curves, which is something to be celebrated, but there's a thin line between when you're curvy and when you're unhealthy. You know, a lot of our social aspects and connections are through food. You know, a lot of the camaraderie and our getting together is through food. That's how we connected from slavery on, even in other cultures in the Caribbean and Africa. But no one ever teaches us where that balance is and where that limit is. And no one wants to talk about when we've gotten to the point that you're like, your blood pressure is creeping up. You're in the unhealthy range, you know. You know, it may look good, but it's not going to be good for you in the long term. So
and
that's
correlation. You know, if we're talking about high blood pressure and we're talking about stress and, you know, post-pandemic, you know, depressive moods, things like that, all of those things, the hormone balancing, talk about how that keeps weight on. Stress,
So stress, one of the number one triggers, because stress causes cortisol release. And not to get too technical, but cortisol is a stress hormone, which is good in low numbers, but constant cortisol, high cortisol levels causes increased blood pressure, causes reduced immunity, causes more inflammation. Again, it also causes your body to release sugar. So it causes your blood sugar to go higher. It causes increased insulin, which leads to insulin resistance, which leads to pre-diabetes and type 2 diabetes, which leads to weight gain. So insulin, people don't realize insulin is not just to lower your blood sugar, but it actually causes you to store sugar as fat. So when you're overproducing insulin, you're gaining weight through fat. You're gaining fat stores, which causes more cortisol levels, which causes more, you know, inflammation, which causes other, you know, mental health issues related to weight gain on top of that. So it's this vicious cycle of obesity that comes into play that a lot of people don't talk about. And if you go to, you know, the average, you know, your PCP, they don't have time. They just say, you know, eat less, exercise more.
Right.
That's it. You know, and that's not hormones. They don't talk about hormones.
Exactly.
They don't talk about hormones, and that's a big thing for us. For women, you know, men get it too, but it's really awful for us because we have these hormonal shifts that happen before we even go into menopause or perimenopause. Our metabolism starts slowing down in our 20s, slowly. You know, some faster than others, but most people, that freshman 15 is not, you know, out the blue. That's because that's usually around the time that our metabolism starts slowing down little by little. So incorporate, you know, lower estrogen levels, you know, incorporate even lower testosterone levels, you know, that actually causes us to lose muscle mass, which slows down our metabolism more, which causes us to gain weight. So it's this whole and this is why I wanted to incorporate this, because I can actually talk to my clients individually and I can determine like, what's the main source, you know, what's going on with you. Some patients have PCOS, you know, they're going to be a limit. There's going to be a limit to what they can lose without their hormones being balanced. You know, some people are depressed. I have patients that are really depressed and they don't really know they're depressed. You know, I work with their PCPs or their psychologists or psychiatrists to actually say, maybe you want to put them on a medication that has a better weight profile for them. You know, maybe you want to add something, you know. So I learn my clients and I decide, you know, I try to determine what lets their weight gain, what's the best plan for them and what motivates them, because everybody's different. Everybody's different. Jen knows that. We talk about, you know, what's going on with her. You know, what were your triggers this week? You know, what are our goals? What will work for you? You know, what works for her doesn't work for another patient. It doesn't work for me. Right. I love that I'm able to individualize all of my plans for my patient instead of just say, lose weight, you just lose weight, exercise, eat less, see you next year. And that was all I had.
Definitely not enough. Definitely need a more holistic approach.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your relationship with what were you going to say, Jennifer? Go ahead.
I wanted to just add, because we talk about the health aspect of it, and Dana hit on one point, depression. Some people are depressed, and there's a huge research shows when people are depressed, their coping mechanisms are lower. They might use food to cope. And one thing that I'm in the mental health space. I'm a licensed social worker. Okay. So I feel like the more isolated people are, the more they're likely to be, doing things that aren't going to be helpful. They might be, drinking more alcohol. They might be partying more. They might be eating more. So that's something else that is incorporating into the wellness plan, because, if you're going into work or you have to adjust to that, like all these things, if you're isolated, contributes to weight gain and all that other stuff. So I wanted just to make sure I hit on that piece too. Yeah. And the beauty about Dana, we talk about, some of the things, the stressors that I'm going through, or at one time I was driving 2 hours to work. So we would talk about that and how to, my motivation. So I want to make sure, in terms of confidence, sometimes people are depressed, and we want to speak to that too. And really that contributes to weight loss or weight gain in some instances.
Definitely.
Right. To both, depending on.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because for someone who is an emotional eater, I put on weight, and I hear people say when they're depressed or stressed, they don't eat. I'm like, I would love to have that as a problem right now.
I'm the opposite. When I'm happy, I eat. I have happy weight. That's I have to be mindful of that, because I'll eat my way through some happiness, but it's not a good thing. So
yeah. And then it's cyclical, because then we put on the weight, or we put on the weight that we don't want, or we lose the weight that we do want. And then we're not feeling good about ourselves. And so then that keeps you inside even more, or keeps you from, being social, being visible, all the things that we need to just maintain that healthy emotional and mental wellness. So definitely cyclical. And so I want to hear about your regimen. I know it's going to be different for everyone, and I love that. But tell us a little bit about what your relationship looks like, what your visit to the office looks like, what your treatment plan looks like. You guys talk about that for me.
So I see Dana every week. Usually it's a Friday or Saturday. So I go in, we do my weight, like a weight check-in. We do my blood pressure, I think. And then we just start talking about just different things, what goals that I meet, what things were a challenge. So it's more of a conversation first. It's more, getting the vitals, and then getting, the things, some of my goals, kind of reviewing those. Okay. And then we go into the shots. I can't speak to what the shots are. Yeah. I don't know what they are.
So we go through that. We go through our day. We also go through her response to the medication, because it incorporates incorporates nutritional counseling, nutrition plan, your assessment, weight management. Weight measurement, body mass, like a biometric measurement. And then it incorporates like nutrition, vitamin support, and medication to actually help for appetite control cravings, actually help with metabolism, like support your metabolism. So I have to go through everything with her. I have to go through her week, how well she did. We go back on our goals. I have to see her response to the medication to see if we're going to be adjusting it up or down. Some people are having too much of an effect, some people not enough, or they've been on it for a while, so they start to plateau. So I might need to taper it up a little bit. And then we also talk about like how they're doing, like lifestyle wise. Like, so what are you doing? Because again, it's not an easy out. This is just an assistance to kind of help you, like to reach your goal, because you'll lose weight, but you'll stop at a certain point if you're not making those lifestyle changes. This allows people to be able to say, okay, I'm able to not eat past 8 o'clock, where I had really bad night eating, I'm able to not go for seconds where if food was in front of me, I would just keep eating, It also helps that when they're working out, they're actually seeing like an effect, because their medication, their injections actually help to boost your metabolism and boost your body's ability to burn fat and lose weight. So in addition to helping to control appetite, if they're working out like they should, or not even not should, but if they're actually doing some physical activity, they'll notice a change in that scale, because these medications are helping kind of to reset her metabolism back to where it was, 10 years ago.
Okay. So is this hormone balance?
It is actually a hormone. It's actually a metabolism and appetite hormone. So originally it was, they used it was like a newer diabetic or diabetes medication, that they realized that patients were having the added benefit of actually losing weight. So they modified it from an oral to an injection, and from a daily injection to a weekly injection, and then approved it for weight management. So they modified a little bit so that it's not, because it was used as an adjunct to diabetes. So it wasn't really like lowering blood sugar, but it was helping the other medications. But it actually was causing people to have less cravings, because it was working on their reward center of their brain. It was slowing how quickly their stomach emptied, so that they felt full longer and not were hungry within an hour. So they modified it, and not for diabetes management, but for weight management. So the dosage is different. The formulation is slightly different, but it's one of the newer ones, and it's actually one of the most effective ones out of all the weight loss medication. So they're the ones that I use their weekly injections. Some people it's an inconvenience, but for me, we need that face to face. I want you to see the scale, because it motivates people.
It's very
see that scale going down, even they feel like they didn't do as well as they thought they did, and they see it still going down. Then people are like, I'm going to start walking this week. I'm going to do this. It keeps going, because nothing saps that motivation as to putting in all of this work and not seeing that scale budge, and you did everything right.
Yeah.
So
I can speak to that too. I mean, even though, so I did the Ideal program, and this was before the pandemic that I did it. So I could go in every Saturday and get weighed and get measured. And so there was this, just real accountability, because I knew I had to face them every week. And I wanted to see, I think I wanted to see success. I wanted them to be pleased as well. So as much as I wanted it for myself, I wanted the reward. I wanted the applause. Like, yes, you're doing it.
I have one of my clients, she said, I'm motivated by shame. So I come in here and I want to see the scale go down. So you don't look at me with those eyes. And I'm always positive, because it's a process. You're changing habits that you've developed over years, and it's going to take a while. The goal of this is for sustainable weight loss. It's not a crash diet. It's not a, lose weight for a wedding and then get off of it. I want you to develop habits that you're going to keep for a lifetime. And eventually, yes, if people gain weight, they'll eventually gain weight over the years, because that's how our metabolism works. Unfortunately, physiological changes happen that everything starts to slow down over the years. But, can you go back on it? You can definitely go back. Are there changes that you've made within you mentally, physically, in your schedule that's going to keep you from gaining a whole bunch of weight? And also want to give you the tools to be able to go back and say, okay, I know what I need to do. I started to gain 5 pounds. Let me, tweak my diet a little bit. Let me cut back on these, simple carbs or this extra wine I was drinking. And, you're more cognizant of what you're taking in and what you're doing. And so that helps you manage it for the long term. And that's really what I'm here for.
Okay. So are there conversations, that initial visit, when they go in, are there conversations about meal planning, about nutrition, about, more discipline? Is there journaling?
We do. I have patients. Yeah, so I have patients using apps. Some are very good about using them. Some of them don't. So, but I know everybody's different. So I'm more gentle, encouraging. I'm not about battering people, because I know how hard it is to get motivated to get to that point. But once you get it, you'll do it. So you do have an app. You are supposed to track your meals. Some people are they work well by having a rigid diet plan, which I do provide. Like you have recipes, daily recipes. You'll know which, and some people just want a guide, and I have that as well. Some people want a guide of what they can and can't eat, and how they want to do it themselves because they only like certain foods. So I have that option for both, whatever clients. And then I also have some that I'm like, we're going to start off stricter, and then we're going to be loosen up a little bit once you get closer to your goal weight, or we're going to ease you into this because that's not your ministry. You're just not good at, tracking what you eat. So I'm going to ease you into this. Okay. And then the next month we're going to get on a more strict regimen because everybody's different. I'm a firm believer that everything doesn't apply. 20 years, I know that my patients are motivated by different things. My technique, my style, my plan, I have to involve my patients with that because I can put all this work into it. If it's not for them, if it doesn't work for their lifestyle, or how they see their journey in health, they're not going to do it. So I know that I need to incorporate this with them together. And I feel like that patients are more eventually, even the slow, responders, once they start seeing that they're gaining that weight, they trust me over the time, they start getting motivated I had one client who lost 30 pounds, didn't do anything. Yeah. After that 30 pounds, though, by that third month, he started going back to the gym and he gained weight during the pandemic. Like, I feel I want to start bulking up. Like it motivated him. It took him out of that funk that he had been in from having to be active and play football to having to do school online. So I'm a firm believer in this program. I know it works. And I'm a firm believer that we all have it in us. We just have to find out how it works best for us, what style works best for us, and then go with it.
And what are you finding other people come in for? Since we're having this conversation about body confidence, what other services do you provide that, attract people and help boost self-esteem? Or what are the other reasons people make their way to your office?
So a lot of people go. So like I said, I deal in women's health. I have a lot of patients with PCOS, and they have hair growth. Polycystic ovarian syndrome. Okay. And it's a hormonal syndrome that they deal with long term, but it causes weight gain, it causes infertility, and it causes the imbalance of hormones. It causes like hair growth. So I have patients come in for that. I do painless laser hair removal. So they come in for that because they're either tired of the waxing, or the waxing causes like darkening areas. So they get the laser hair removal, and it's painless. So they don't want to do the traditional lasers. I have patients come in a lot for like skin changes. So hormones, adult acne, birth control. I have a lot of patients come in with skin issues. So I do provide medical skin care with the ZO Skin Health. Fortunately for my patients, because I deal with mostly people of color, wrinkles aren't that big of an issue, but skin discolorations are. So, actually having peels, chemical peels to kind of reset, brighten the skin, skin brightening creams that are, that actually help with skin discoloration. So they come in for that. And then a lot of we have a lot of other things with aging, like dark circles and like, I guess like a loss of like collagen in our face. So I also do like cosmetic threads for like under eyes, for lifts under the chin, so it's multiple things. Most people come in for weight gain, but then they notice like, I do want to do something about these dark circles.
Yeah, I'm like, what is this?
Can I do this pill? I'm like, just let me know when you want to do this pill, because there are a lot of other hormonal issues with weight gain. So hormones cause other problems with our skin, problems with hair loss, hair gain, hair growth. So there are other things, other issues than the one-offs of the people that are coming in for hangover IVs. So that's always sporadic. People don't plan to come in for a hangover, but they'll come in for it. So
hangover IVs. Yeah, I've heard of those. It's the B12 infusions or something like that.
Yeah, it's B12, magnesium. There's some other thing. There's some immunity infusions too for I've seen that more too during the flu season and stuff. People come on for the immunity boost shots. So they do come. So I just I'd like to incorporate, like I said, I feel like it's not about looking good, but it's about feeling good, actually internal and out. So it's no point your face is tight, and your blood pressure is, 180 over 100. It's no point, you looking good, but then you're not fitting right in your clothes. Like your face looks good, you don't have a wrinkle on it, but the rest of you is jacked up. So I'm like, I'm a firm believer in like holistic aesthetics.
Mm-hmm.
So, I wanted to offer services that can deal with multiple issues of aesthetics and what you feel like is beautiful to you, how you feel beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
For one person that might be plasma, it might
and
be
how you feel confident. And I like this conversation now. I didn't realize you come from that you were in social work, mental health background. So together, I want to hear from both of you then. So for this holistic approach to wellness and body confidence and having a positive self-image, regardless of what you're going through, as you go through it, what can we do to reclaim that confidence, to be confident while we're in this transition, while we're working on ourselves? What are some things we can do? So one of the things I share, and I've said this in a previous episode too, shout out to Crystal and Divas and Dolls. I took pole dancing.
Hey.
And it was for nothing more. I wasn't trying to be a dancer. I didn't even want to get really, really good at it. It was really just about still feeling sensual and feeling confident and kind of dominating, the room, the space I'm in while I'm going through what I'm going through. So things like that. What can we do to still feel good about ourselves, still feel sexy, still feel, like the amazing women we are, the baddies we are, in spite of not feeling our best body-wise?
So for me, I would say just having, being realistic and just taking things day by day. For me, I remember when I went in to see Dana, the first thing I remember from a booklet she gave me was the intermittent fasting. And I just remember, for me, seeing that and like, that's a goal that I could do. Something I can incorporate into my life. And then as I, check off that goal and I'm meal prepping, for me, that was like my practical thing that I could do. So when I checked that goal off, I was like, yes, it made me more confident. Or when people would see me and say, your face looks smaller or your waist looks smaller, to me, that made me more confident because I was getting positive or being affirmed in a positive way.
Yeah.
But I also think too, is if your thing is being social, so you have to know who you are. Like, it's part of its self-awareness. So if you know that for you, you still want to go out and do something, like you still want to, be social. Like for me, it was brunch. So if I go to brunch, I got to be very mindful, and I'm still going to be social, but I got to be very mindful about where I go, how much I eat. So that helped me like be more confident. Okay, I can still go to brunch. I don't have to miss that social part of who I am, but I'm going to also let my friends know that this is my goal. We all are working together to make sure that we're helping each other, and especially me, because I'm trying to lose weight. To me, that made me a little bit more confident, seeing that scale every week I go in, seeing the numbers go down. And then I would also say, really just give yourself compassion, give yourself grace, because weight loss is not easy. So I think sometimes we beat up ourselves, so for people, just starting small is going to help you build your confidence. Seeing that goal, being completed is the first step, and knowing who you are, knowing what works for you. But for me, again, being social, I'm still able to be social, but I'm also able to lose weight.
And that's impressive.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's doable.
Yeah.
Honestly, not for me anyway.
So I also have a meal.
Go out and enjoy brunches, and
I don't do it as much. So I've had to I can't do it every weekend like I used to. And I also have a meal prep person who prepares meals for me. So I had to tell her, hey, instead of rice, can you put cauliflower in there, or can you put more vegetables? So I had to be. That's why self-awareness in terms of your confidence, knowing who you are, like really is important. Like I know for me, going to the gym right now may not be my priority, but even if me and Dana talk about this, me just going for a walk, if I'm on vacation, me going for a walk and being able to complete that oh, I feel so good about myself when I completed that goal. The thing that Dana and I were talking about, and I completed it. Like, I feel like a boss when you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the week.
If you walked on a vacation in the middle of your partying and enjoying, you still took that time to go out and walk.
I traveled a lot this summer. So, like,
the fact that you even packed the clothes to be able to work out on the vacation, I'm applauding you for that.
All you need is a one piece. All you need is a one piece and some sneakers.
Oh goodness. So then also the alcohol. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
That's a hard part of being social too. And
it is. It's having limits. Alcohol. It's having limits. It's being prepared. If you're managing your weight, you can enjoy, like, you don't have to be, which is why I'm not very strict with the plan that I give out, because I feel like if you're too strict, as soon as you light up, you're just going to go all the way left. Yeah. So I'm like, you can have alcohol, you might want to not do it the first month, but you can incorporate it, and you got to limit it. If you're going to have wine, you're going to have red wine. You're not going to have, sangria. You're not going to have Moscato. You're not going to have sweet wine. You're going to have red wine. If you're going to have liquor, you're going to have vodka, or you're going to have unflavored tequila, and you're going to mix it with a spritzer, or you can mix it with a Diet Coke. It doesn't matter. It's the lowest calories you can have it. You can have two, be prepared in your head, like, this is what I'm going to have. And that's it. You look ahead at the menus when you go brunching or you go out to eat, look at the menu and see what you can have as an alternative. You can have some steak, and you can have, like Jen said, you can have like cauliflower rice or roasted Brussels sprouts instead of a baked potato. And you can eat and be full and not sacrifice flavor for that. But she plans ahead. She thinks about what she's doing and saying, I'm going to go out, but let me look and see what's there for me. Oh, okay, I'm going to have this and that. And then you're not tempted. Right. You already have a game plan.
I can't do happy hour. Like, I used to be at a happy hour every night. Not every night, but, at least 3 to 4 times a week. I just can't do that anymore. I have to be very realistic. If I'm going to have a glass of wine, it's going to be at home, if that. Or wait till the weekend and, do my thing. So I've had to be very, I have to know myself, and hey, I'm selfish. I'm not going to do that tonight. Or, can we go walking instead of going to happy hour? So I've been very intentional about that too. So just knowing
that's
myself.
Important. What you're saying right now, the emotional support, being able to communicate to your friends what you need to do, and they be supportive instead of, oh, come on, you can do it this one night, or that sort of thing. People side eye you when you say you're not going to drink.
Or family, because family like to, I have a Caribbean influence. My fiance is Caribbean, and they like a lot of rice and like eat. I just can't do that. I can't. So.
And then another thing. Go ahead.
I was going to say, just to go back when you were saying, what can you do to make yourself feel better? I find doing things for yourself, because we as women, we tend to do things for everyone else and we forget about ourselves. Little things actually make a difference. Going out, getting your hair done, getting some lashes, getting a pedicure, buying a new shirt, little things actually that improve your appearance outwardly. Because I feel like people, they start to not, like, it doesn't matter, I don't care, but then it starts to reflect inwardly. And then, when people start, they feel better about themselves. They're coming out, they have a different glow to them. They're doing their hair, they bought some earrings, they put a little lipstick on, and it's not for anyone else, it's for themselves. So I feel like even when you don't feel it, getting up, brushing your hair, making sure you look cute for you, not for to impress anyone else, not to impress, but doing it for yourself. It actually helps that energy and motivation within you, and you'll feel better about it, and you'll pay more attention to you. So, and pay more attention to how you look, you pay more attention to how you feel, you pay more attention to what you want out of life. Like, I don't want to go up these steps and be out of breath. I want to be, I want to be in this gym. So you start like, it motivates you to do more for yourself. And so I feel like even just the little things can actually are steps to actually help you feel better overall. So
one of the things I've been struggling with, because it's catch-22. I don't feel good about myself when I'm putting on clothes that I can't fit. So I've been saying, okay, why don't you go shopping, give this wardrobe an overhaul, buy things that fit and make you feel good and look good. But I still want to lose the weight. So it's a struggle with saying, yes, let me buy the clothes that fit and make me feel good and look good. But
it's not where you want to be.
Into my own thing.
It's not where you want to be. So, and that's key, because it's like, if that's not really your goal, it's just a quick fix. It's a Band-Aid on an issue. You really haven't addressed what was the real problem was. It was there. You're not where you used to be. You know, what that looks like for you is different for everybody. But if you're like, I'm used to being, you know, a size 10 and I'm a size 16, you know, or I'm used to being a size 16 and I'm a size 24, whatever. I'm used to being an 8, whatever looks good for you. Buying new clothes is just another fix, you know? Yeah. So it still doesn't, it's a temporary fix and it's a temporary feel good. But at the end of the day, you haven't addressed what really bothered you to begin with. So being like realistic with yourself and then understanding, which I think a lot of people have a hard time with, is that sometimes you need help, you know? There are a lot of things with waking that are beyond your control. Right. You know, you can do everything right. And through hormones, age, and just regular, you know, metabolic adaptation, your body's not going to lose that weight, or it's going to take forever. And you're going to have to almost starve yourself and work out, you know, 7 days a week to try to get close to where you want to be. And it's not your fault. So sometimes knowing that I need a little assistance. If it's temporary, if it's a meal plan, if it's vitamin shots, if it's medication that helps suppress my appetite until I get my diet back to where it is and I'm back to eating like healthy foods, that's fine. You know, we all have to recognize that there are a lot of things about this that are beyond our control. And it's okay to say, hey, I want a little assistance, because at the end of the day, you're doing the work. You're still doing the work.
Yeah. Right. You know? And also, like, give yourself grace. Like, I was holding on to clothes I wore in college. Like, so like, of course I'm going to feel bad about clothes when I was in my 20s. Like, I have to be realistic. I'm never going to fit. I'm not looking to fit back into the clothes I was in when I was in my 20s or my early 30s. So it's okay to let them things go. And then, you know, work on the clothing that really fits my body, you know, really work on, you know, that look. So sometimes it's a little bit of that too. You got to really be realistic. Are you holding on to something because you know, that they're older clothes and you want to go way back there, or, you know, are there pieces that you definitely want to get back into it and it's realistic for you? And sometimes seeing yourself in a better fit, more customized, makes you feel good too.
That's an important piece too, being realistic. Like, we're not going to get back to 20. We're just not. Our body's going to be different, you know, what through age, through weight gain, through childbirth, through whatever, you know, surgery, our body's different. Being realistic to what that looks like for you now at this stage in your life. You know, some people are trying to get back. And I mean, we've talked about this, Jen, where you wanted to with your goal. I was like, I don't think that's going to look good on you now. Right. I was like, I don't know. Maybe that's what you were thinking of when you were 20, but I think you're just going to go ahead if we go down to there. Like, I don't think it's going I think it's going to look as good as you think it's going to look, because in your mind, you're still there. Being realistic, you can get this weight and you'll be the bomb, and you'll still have your curves, and you'll be healthy, which is more important out of all of this, is you'll be healthy, you know? So it's being realistic with that, and then being realistic with, you know, when my clients like, this is a good goal for you, or this is a good starting goal. Let's start here, and then we'll reevaluate. Once you get those first 30 pounds, we'll go again. You know, let's see if you want to go more, or what else do we need to do. But being realistic helps people not judge themselves harshly, because when you feel like I need to be there and I'm nowhere near that negative self-talk is even more detrimental.
Yeah, I had to throw them clothes away, girl. I had to throw them away.
You probably didn't want to wear them anyway. We all dressed like we were going to a business happy hour in the early 2000s. We didn't want those clothes. We all look business casual. We didn't want that.
That's true. Looking good. This is definitely like, when I think about the stuff that I want to put on, because they still accentuate the things that I like about my body. Like, don't get me wrong. If I stand in front of the right mirror, I don't even want to lose weight someday.
Right. Exactly.
In front of the right mirror, but that wrong mirror makes you want to change your ways. So there are some outfits, like a lot of my bodysuits, you know, when I see the length of my legs, like I've always liked having really long legs, and to see, you know, my curves, to see the hips and those things. I can wear those I can go up and down probably 4 sizes and still wear those. So maybe I buy more of those.
Exactly.
So transition pieces is what we'll
call them. Honor and value what you love about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Remember that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, ladies, I could go on and on. I think I could pick both of your brains all night long, but let's at least let people reach out to you if they have questions. Jennifer, you've been really open about your journey, so maybe they can pick your brain. Why don't you guys share the ways that people can connect with you and where they can find you?
Oh, okay. So I am Jennifer Leah on Facebook. I'm Genuine Solutions on Instagram. So JENNUINE Solutions. And then people can always get me on DMV Does in the Facebook group, on our page, on our Instagram, DMV Does, DOES, DMV DOES. So you can reach me. I'm always on my phone. You can always, I'm very transparent, I'm very upfront. So you can, no question is offensive to me. And anything that can help someone else, I'm here to do it. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, you responded instantly. And are you also in DMV Does?
I am. I'm in DMV Does. My Facebook name is Dana A. Green. I keep my maiden name because sometimes patients are very vigilant about. I've been practicing for a long time, so sometimes I can't connect with all of my patients because they send inappropriate questions through Facebook when they should be sending at the clinic. But I'm also there, so So that's my primary care clinic. But Dana A. Green on Facebook. I have Integr8 Med Spa, which is the business page. I'm Dr. Dana NP on Instagram. I'm the Libra Aesthetic on TikTok. So I have a TikTok page. And then the website is www.integr8medspa.com. And that's INTEGR and the number 8 medspa.com. I have reach out to us, connect with us. You can send there if you have questions about, hey, I want to know more about this, or I want to schedule like this. You can send it right through there. My front desk person is very responsive. I'm bad about social media just because I'm so busy, probably better through Instagram than Facebook, but I will eventually reach out to you. And then I probably need a social media person because I'm also with the Air National Guard. So I'm all over the place. So I just haven't been on social media as much. But you can reach me through all of that. I will get back one way or another. And I love talking about aesthetics. I love talking about women's health. I love talking about weight loss. So I'm very open about anything. I just love educating, and I love empowering women. And that's just what I went into this field for. So
thank you. Well, where's the facility located?
So my clinic is actually located in Crofton, Maryland, right off of Route 3. It's 2411 Crofton Lane, Suite 25A in Crofton, Maryland.
Okay.
So right on the border of Anne Arundel and PG. So I'm right in between. And again, it's usually appointment only. I'm there on the weekends, but I usually have appointments before. But people can walk in if they have questions, and certain simple things I can, like vitamin shots or IVs. I do walk-ins, but other things, of course, I need appointments or consults for. But I also do virtual consults as well. So if you have questions about things, I'll do a virtual without you having to come in if you're not sure if it's right for you. And they're complimentary, so there's no cost. Okay.
All right. And you said that's through the appointments?
Yeah, so that you can call or you can go through www.integr8medspa.com and then put in book with us, and then they'll reach right out and they'll ask you what date or time, or they'll call you if you prefer. And then you just set up a virtual consult with me, and we'll just like this, we'll go through whatever what are you looking for, what I have, and whether you're a good candidate and whether it's right for you.
Perfect.
The beauty of social media, to make these connections. Like I would not have been where I am today if I didn't connect with Dana. So the beauty of social media.
But I'm so glad I could. Like I said, the beauty of DMV Does is that Jenna stayed true to her vision of being positive and being all inclusive and connecting people. And I think that has contributed to the success of it, because it's definitely a genuine group. It's different from anything from social media. It's a purpose in it, and it's a very positive overall message or agenda with the group that I love. It's going to rub some people the wrong way, but that's social media. But they're also not the people that you want to, at least not who I want to connect with. So
A very controlled environment. I was very impressed.
Yeah, but I mean, it's very positive. And so I think even through anything you're looking for, pretty much you can get through there.
It's there.
And all that started with a couple dozen women just having brunch
and talking.
The magic of women. And
let's eat.
Well, is there anything else you guys want to conclude with that I haven't covered or asked? Go ahead and share.
I think we've covered a lot. I think, I just, want to put out the importance of people looking and feeling good at whatever that means to you. It's not the standard of everyone. I think we have a lot of unrealistic expectations with social media and all of these body images that are not attainable. But I think everybody doing what's right for you, what feels good in your mind, I think that's more important, than trying to attain to these, aspire to these unattainable standards.
Yeah.
So, and I'm glad you have a forum like this that we're, encouraging and empowering people across different aspects of their life. So
thank you
and
so much.
I also would say, from a social and personal standpoint, take risks. Like, life is too short. I work with patients who are 6 months, they're going to pass away in 6 months at the end stage of life. So you have to take risks. You have to, whether that's taking a risk with your weight loss, being social, making new connections, do that. That helps you with your confidence. That helps you realize what you're able to do. So go ahead and do that, because life is definitely too short.
Life is too short.
That's for sure. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you both. Jen, thank you for being so transparent with your journey. I will be following you and staying inspired.
Hey.
And I'm committed to getting these pounds off too. So I'll keep you.
We'll do it together. We'll do it together.
All of us will. Trust me.
Perfect. Thank you, ladies, so much. I'm going to let you get back to your lives.
Thank you for having us.
And I'll see you next week. I'm coming to get that cream.
Just reach out. I'll give you my number directly.